Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Today, we're going to discuss a Gravekeepers deck build, one that is very difficult to get a lot of the pieces for, and I mean that in the sense that a lot of the major cards that you're going to need for this deck are based off of farming legendary duelist like Ishizu and like Odeon. So yeah, it's going to take a lot of work to get some of the more sought after pieces, but it's not like you can't put a deck together just based off of other Gravekeepers cards. It's not going to be as effective. You're not going to get the same types of combos off. But what I want to do is discuss just an ideal Gravekeepers deck. This is it was one of the more powerful decks earlier on in the game, and me personally, I think it's still got it still packs a lot of punch. I still think that getting a deck together like this is going to be useful in case we do end up getting more Gravekeeper support, such as Necro Valley, the actual field spell, stuff like that. But for now, this is what we're working with. Let me go through this. First of all, we have just the overall boss monster. You've probably seen this card in the card trader. This is one that's the easiest thing to get because you could buy it at any time at the card trader. It's Gravekeepers Oracle. It's a level 10 spellcaster, 2000 attack, 1500 defense. You contribute 3 monsters or 1 Gravekeepers monster to tribute summon but not set this card. When this card is tribute summoned, you can activate any of these effects and resolve in sequence up to the number of Gravekeepers monsters tributed for its summon. First, this card gains attack equal to the combined levels that all monsters tributed for its tribute summon had on the field times 100. 2. Destroy all set monsters your opponent controls. And 3. All monsters your opponent currently controls lose 2000 attack and defense. So, this is your absolute boss monster. It doesn't matter that it's only got a 2000 attack. Or I guess in my case, I do like to run Power of the Dark with my Gravekeepers deck, so we're talking a 2200 attack. But it doesn't matter if your opponent, say, got a Blue Eyes White Dragon out on the field or a Dark Magician. That Dark Magician is going to go down from 2500 attack down to 500 attack for you to easily run it over with your Gravekeepers Oracle or any of the other Gravekeepers that you may or may not have on the field. So typically what I'll do is I'll have one Gravekeeper on there. I'll take advantage of the effect where you choose one of the effects. So depending on if my opponent has set a bunch of monsters on the field, like trying to get me to run into a Yomi ship or something, I'll just use the effect after tribute summoning to destroy all set monsters, or if they got some strong face-up monsters, I'll use the effect to drop their attacks and defense down 2,000 points. So yeah, that's why this deck is so good, is because of a card like Gravekeepers Oracle. It's just really, really good at changing the game. It's a good momentum shifter, and just overall, it's an excellent card. So in my deck, I run 3 of them. I've seen a lot of people run 2 of them, but I like to see this card in my hand as much as possible, because even I'll run a combo play where I'll have a Gravekeepers Oracle on the field and also have one in my hand. So the next turn, I'll basically relive the effect and, just tribute summon using my Gravekeepers Oracle to tribute summon for a Gravekeepers Oracle. So it's kind of like a recycling factor and reusing that effect if you got that many in the deck. So it just depends on your play style. Then I got 2 copies, because I only have 2 copies right now, of Gravekeepers Chief. It's Gravekeepers Chief. It's a level 5 spellcaster, 1900 attack, 1200 defense. You can only control 1 face-up Gravekeepers Chief. Your graveyard is unaffected by Necro Valley. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target 1 Gravekeepers monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So this is just an ultimate combo play where you're going to use this card to... ideally, you want to use it with Gravekeepers Recruiter, but you could also use this, at least in my opinion, with the Gravekeepers Oracle. So when that card's out on the field, you've already activated its effect. Next turn, if you have a Gravekeepers Chief, I would tribute summon over that Oracle. So you bring out your Gravekeepers Chief, then you bring that Oracle back out of the graveyard, and you got based on Power of Dark, you got a 2100 attack Gravekeepers Chief, and then you got a 2200 attack Gravekeepers Oracle, and you're filling the field with some pretty strong cards. So that's one of the combo plays that you'll see there. And this one is one of the more difficult cards to get. This one you got to farm out of Ishizu. So good luck with that. It took me a lot of keys just to get 2. So I should be happy with 2. Ideally, I'd like a third one, but we'll go from there. Then I got 2 copies, because I only have 2 copies, of Gravekeepers Recruiter. This is the one that you really, really, really want to have 3 of, because this is your searcher card. This is one of those things that you are able to use to get a lot of combo plays off. A lot of people like to pair this card up with enemy controller, just to kind of activate that secondary effect to control one of your opponent's monsters, thus activating Gravekeepers Recruiter's effect. When this card you control is sent to your graveyard, add 1 Gravekeepers monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So it's pretty much every Gravekeepers monster that you basically have right now, including Gravekeepers Oracle, because Gravekeepers Oracle only has 1500 defense. So what you're able to do is, anytime this card is sent to the graveyard, so it has to be on the field though. If it's sent to the graveyard, then you activate its effect. So the combo play that most people like to use is have Gravekeepers Recruiter on the field, then use Gravekeepers Chief to tribute summon over the Gravekeepers Recruiter, activating its effect, and then have Gravekeepers Chief bring out your Gravekeepers Recruiter back out of the graveyard, so eventually you could reactivate its effect and search out again. So you're able to search out whatever cards you need, in this case possibly Gravekeepers Oracle, something along those lines. So that's really the big combo play. This is the card that you always want to see in your hand, because it'll get you whatever combo play that you want to get going in whatever situation. So this is the one that you got to farm out of Odeon. It is a very difficult card to get. It took me a long time to get it, but I was fortunate enough, and for those of you who follow me on Twitter probably saw the post, finally got one, but when I did, he dropped 2 of them in the same drop, so that's why I have 2 Gravekeepers Recruiters, which is awesome. Then, got 1 copy of Gravekeepers Priestess, just because that's all I have right now. This is another card that you could get from farming Ishizu, but you can also unlock it by leveling up your Ishizu legendary duelist. So that just goes to show that after all the duels that I had against Ishizu, I still have not gotten a Gravekeepers Priestess from a drop yet. So very difficult card to get. It's another spellcaster, 1000 attack, 1500 defense. While there is no face-up field spell, the field is treated as Necro Valley. All Gravekeepers monsters gain 200 attack and defense. So basically, just because of the inherent effect, I like Gravekeepers Priestess just because you're talking about a 1700 defense, and then also with Power of the Dark, you're talking a 1900 defense monster. So setting Gravekeepers Priestess out on the field is a good setup play, especially at the beginning of the game. Hopefully your opponent won't be able to get over that 1900 defense, and then being able to set it up for another play between either Gravekeepers Chief or Gravekeepers Oracle. Hopefully Oracle, that's your ideal play, and you're able to go from there. And maybe you could get Priestess back out onto the field using Gravekeepers Chief and kind of give everybody on the field a nice little buff of that 200 attack and defense increase. So, really, really good card. Then you got Gravekeepers Assailant. This is just kind of a filler for now until I get another Gravekeepers Recruiter. But this one is a 1500 attack, 1500 defense. When this card declares an attack while Necro Valley is on the field, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and change that target's battle position. So, yeah, if you have Priestess on the field in the meantime, because we don't have Necro Valley the card yet, then you could really activate Gravekeepers Assailant's effect, and it's a pretty good one. Then, here's another one that you guys can get in the store, or no, not in the store, but at the card trader. It's Gravekeeper's Spear Soldier. It's a level 4 spellcaster, 1500 attack, 1000 defense. If this card attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. So with Power of the Dark, you got a 1700 attack monster. If your opponent's sending monsters with low defense, at least you have a monster that can inflict piercing damage. So I like this card a lot. This is one that if you're kind of doing a more budget-friendly Gravekeepers deck, you just run 3 copies of this card if you don't have a lot of the other pieces that are really difficult to get. There is also another one. I think it's the Gravekeepers Cannon Soldier or something like that. There's another one, so you could use those. Those are only rares that you're able to get out of Ishizu, so yeah, you could also run a deck that way. Then, another card that I like to run, that I don't see a lot of people running, is Gravekeepers Curse. It's a level 3 spellcaster with 800 attack and 800 defense. When this card is special summoned, you inflict when this card is summoned, just summoned in general, you inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So, a nice little combo play that I like to use for a quick 1000 burn is, if I have Gravekeepers Chief in my hand, and I have Gravekeepers Curse, and if I have a double summon. So you gotta have a lot of pieces there, but what I'll do is I'll just normal summon my Gravekeepers Curse, inflict the 500 life points of damage, then I'll use double summon to then tribute summon for Gravekeepers Chief, and then I'll bring Gravekeepers Curse back out of the graveyard and summon it back out onto the field, and boom, another 500. So you burn for 1,000 just off of that one play. So if you know you're kind of late in the game, your opponent's getting low on life points, this is a game sealer, and I've actually done pretty well with that combo on one or two occasions. It worked out well, and it really set me up to win, either using Gravekeeper Spear Soldier for piercing damage to win the game at that point, because, I mean, 1,000 life points is nothing to sneeze at, but if you have the right pieces and you're able to get that combo play off, you do it. So anyway, what else do you run in the Gravekeepers deck? I like to run 3 copies of Double Summon. Now, I also seen, a few people use other cards like, what was that? There's that one ultra rare card where you're basically able to take control of one of your opponent's monsters and use that for a tribute summon. I don't have a copy of that one, so I don't run it. But if I do, yes, I know you want to run stuff like that. Anything that allows you to take control of your opponents and allow you to do tributes, because this is a very tribute-heavy deck. Now, remember, Gravekeeper's Oracle, you can't really use its effect unless you have a Gravekeeper monster on the field. So, yeah, it's that's the one drawback, but that's why, at least for now, I run double summon, because all of my cards are Gravekeepers monsters. You're able to get that combo play off with your Oracle if you have the card. Then run enemy controller. Again, that's one of those combos that work real well with Gravekeepers Recruiter. What I'll use is Mirror Wall, just because I have one now, and I'm pretty stoked about that. Just use other stall tactic cards too, like Windstorm of Ediqua, anything along those lines, if you're trying to set yourself up for a tribute play on your next turn. I'll just run Machizer as well, just because most people don't expect that in a Gravekeepers deck. They seem to expect more stall tactics or more double summon, something along those lines. But yeah, I'll just throw a Machizer in there for good measure. But yeah, overall, that's kind of the nutshell of what the Gravekeepers deck entails. These are a lot of great pieces, but it is a very time-consuming, and I guess you would call it a more expensive deck to put together. But if you do have all the pieces and you're able to make this happen, it is a really, really fun deck to play, and one that is still very competitive. I think I'm going to try and go at the next season of the ranked duels with this deck for a while, see how I do, see how far I can get. I'm assuming I could probably get this one well into platinum. But we'll see, because the meta is constantly changing, and next go around, this could be an obsolete deck. You never know. So, anyway, that's kind of it for today's episode. If there's a deck that you built similar to the Gravekeepers deck, I'd love to hear about it. I know I played with a few people, like Zach. I know you had a Gravekeepers deck, if I recall. So, but yeah, there were a few other people who like to run this deck. And if you do have your own take on a Gravekeepers setup, love to hear it. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk. I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.